Serious?
Just
oh no. Oh god. welcome to the WeTaku Anime Reviews podcast, a completely professional, super serious, always hard to the wire podcast in which we review anime movies because, those are the most important things in the world. I am your host, Jovan. In one of the boxes that is currently being unpacked, we're getting there, guys, is my Weebology degree, still in Shonen, which means for the first time in I have no idea how long, I'm actually qualified to review what we're talking about, and I am so dope. But before we get into that, my three lovely co-hosts, we actually have all three again. It's really exciting. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Thomas, and I've got a map of Kanto. And yeah, this is my choice. I like Redline. It's a really good movie. But we also have done Ghost in the Shell or Perfect Blue, which are also both great movies. But I don't mind because Redline's great anyway.
I love how you're just calling out the people who didn't vote for those two.
I'm just saying Ghost in the Shell's slightly better. Perfect Blue is like same level, but Ghost in the Shell's a little better.
Oh right, the fans, this is your fault.
No, I love it, but yeah.
The rest of you.
Oh,
Steven doesn't make noise.
Slight technical difficulties.
My mic was muted!
Okay, no, we're back.
Hey,
We're back.
guys.
It's fine. We're fine. We're fine. Nobody panic. Nobody panic.
Hey. Hi, I'm Steven. My mic was muted and I just got back from Asia. And I'd show you some cool thing, but all my figures are over there, so, it's okay. But yeah, I'm back, ready to review this movie. And on to the next guy.
That was Asia. real quick.
Hey.
Oh,
wait,
Asia?
5 words.
No, Allan, shush. We don't care about you.
Oh. Hey, I'm a dog.
Oh.
I don't have degrees because I'm a dog. So I'm never qualified. You're welcome, internet.
I feel it. Or
There we go.
Steven, how is Asia?
Yeah. Well, Asia was... I'd like to point out I never traveled at all. I had never been on a plane before this trip, so going to the complete opposite side of the globe was certainly a new experience. It was awesome. I was in Singapore, Vietnam, and Thailand. I'll say Vietnam was my favorite. Everyone there was so lively and just happy. They all waved and said hello. It was pretty great. So, yeah, I had a great time, but I'm glad to be back home.
Was it Sugoi?
Welcome back.
Well, we'll see how well you are.
It was very Sugoi na.
Is it okay on an anime podcast to call you guys weebs? Because
Back to Allan.
Allan introduced himself. He is a dog. There is nothing more to say.
Sure. All right. Then move on.
No. No, we don't move on ever. Alright, so, what we are reviewing now is actually fantastic. I'm so excited to talk about it. Redline! This is by Madhouse Studios, and you will know it is by Madhouse Studios the moment you start that movie. That is Madhouse the movie. It wasn't actually done by the main studio, though. The director took aside, what was it, did you say 7 people? A small
I
group
don't know
of
how many
to a-
people, but it was 7 years.
Alright, a small group of people to a corner of Madhouse and said, okay, we're going to be working on this movie for 7 years and not really going to do anything else ever again. And 7 years later, we got this awesome thing. Redline came out in 2009, so watch it knowing that it's at least somewhat modern. Though, in my opinion, it channels the 80s super duper hard. It is... Man, I'm trying to be unbiased during the non-spoiler section, but holy, I love this movie. So just jumping into story was actually, I think, the weakest part of the movie for me. Not that it wasn't great. It was that it's a racing movie. At some point, the plot for all racing movies is similar in that I want to win the race. I liked what they did. I liked the what's that thing called where you have a plot and world and no one's gonna help me with the word.
Establishment.
No, that's not quite right. Whatever.
World building?
I liked the setting. No. Well, anywho.
Environment.
Nah, that's not quite right either.
World.
No, more to do with the story.
What?
Location.
No, no. The word
Set
will come back.
pieces?
Like, no. All right, guys. No more guesses. It's fine.
Just continue.
It's fine. I liked the scenario that the world gave and the world itself and everything around it, but I don't think it was special enough to like really be the standout factor of this movie. It is kind of similar to like Street Racer or anything like that, where it's people race. There's some other planets, whatever, but it kept you interested. Those races were really well done, and like you really wanted to win those races. So there's that. 7.5 out of 10.
I gave it a 7 out of 10, but I think I should raise it and both my characters to an 8, but don't worry about that, Allan. That's my fault. I was just thinking about it now. However, I do think it's a character-driven anime, even though I would give this characters the same score. I liked it a lot. The main thing about it is they like the big race that we're talking about, Redline, the big race. It doesn't happen until halfway through the movie, which gives it the perfect amount of setup. And I mean, it's still a long race. Like you're like the whole like way through, you might be like anticipating it, but you're still enjoying the ride. And that's what's fantastic about the movie. Like it doesn't even have to be about the giant race. You still love it anyway because it's crazy. It's over the top. Like just going to the exchange like commission kiosk like that. Just that, like a boring transaction, is still hilarious and fun to watch, and even tells a whole bunch about the world. The world is well established. It's fantastic. Like they knew what they were doing every step of the way. It's not perfect, but it definitely like does the job. So 8 out of 10. Sorry, Allan.
You can tell how much he loves this movie by how fast he's speaking.
Wait till I get to
yeah,
animation and
that's
sound
very
then.
Yeah, no. Well, are you ready for this? Because I'm about to tear this up. I gave story a 3. For me, I guess I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. Like, sure, the races were cool, but I don't know what they were trying to do. There was some plot where I don't know, I don't want to spoil things, but they like tried to do some weird plot with something that woke up, and I'm like, what is going on? So it was just all over the place for me. I couldn't follow it. It was very Evangelion-esque. I was just left there wondering what was happening.
Okay.
Not a comparison I was expecting.
Before the show, we were
So-
kind of talking about our opinions of it. I mentioned to Jovan that Steven said something to me before, like while he was watching it. That's what he said.
Yeah, I kept thinking it was like Evangelion. Like, I don't know. It was just, it was so ridiculous, so outlandish. And, I mean, I guess once we actually get to spoilers, I can also talk about more why it was Evangelion.
Yeah, no, I cannot wait to argue that one, but
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I
But
do.
I gave it a 3.
All right.
Do you want to say that part that you're saying specifically made me think of Akira? Yeah,
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I gave story a 7.5. I am of the same mind that it's not real. Okay, so this is primarily an action movie, and as an action movie, it's supposed to just get you hyped throughout the entire thing, right?
shonen bullshit.
So, like, as far as like deep plot points and all that, that's probably not what you're looking for when you watch this movie in the first place. So, when I was talking with Steven about like when he was watching it, and he said the Evangelion line, I was just like, that's not really how this movie goes. It's more like Gurren Lagann in that you just don't think about it.
Right. And I'll say I understand that it's a racing movie. It's just supposed to be like fun, like action. Like I get that, but I guess to me, adding this really complicated plot underneath kind of detracted from it, in my opinion.
The The thing I liked about it was that it's not important. It really
It
isn't.
didn't matter at all.
It-
Didn't
at the
matter
end,
in the
it
slightest.
didn't matter.
Like
Like,
we're gonna talk about that
Yeah.
in the spoiler section.
sorry.
Alan, do you want to keep going?
Oh, also about the world, I actually didn't find the world building to be like too extensive, but once again, that didn't really matter. It was just about the race. Other components of story, it's your standard like action movie. So like there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's a climax, and then there's an end. That's about it. But yeah,
I'm gonna. Wait, Alan, did you actually say what score you gave it?
yeah, I said it was 7.5.
All right, I'm gonna say one thing before we move on. That I disagree that it was just about the race. I think the movie was split into two parts: pre-Redline and the Redline race.
Mhm.
And I think both of them played out fantastically. I think they intermixed and weaved into each other really well, especially like the maybe 20 minutes right before the Redline, where we just kind of spent time like as viewers of the Redline. But I just want to point out that I do think that the pre-Redline mattered as well and did a good job of setting up for the actual race.
No. I'm not saying that the pre-red line didn't matter, but it was still also about the red line. It was
To an extent,
more
I
of
guess,
a
yeah.
character component, which is why I'm not really mentioning that. But,
Fair
like,
enough. Which segues us beautifully into the character section.
haha.
Now, I think I'm probably gonna have the highest character score out of you guys.
Won't be higher than mine. Or it won't be lower than mine.
Oh boy.
I can
Tim just
guarantee
came in
that.
with like, let's destroy this. I gave characters a 9, which is a little bit generous, I understand, but my reasoning is it's a movie. We don't have that much time to spend on everybody. We don't have time to go into like detailed backstories. We can't One Piece an entire 25 episode arc of one character's storyline. I get that, but during the movie, every character had personality. They had their own stuff. Even like a weird lobsterish kind of guy, I don't know what to call him, the weird red dude who just showed up in the restaurant. Like, within like 10 seconds of him, I knew who he was, what he was about, and why he was there. You know? And that felt like that for every character, and it helped that we actually got a little segment, as if you are a viewer of the actual race, the Red Line. We got a little segment that's like, this is every character and who's going to be in the race, and this is their shtick and how they got there. And like, that sounds like it's super exposition-y and tacked on, but it felt amazingly hype, as if I was just some guy getting ready for the races, and I loved that. And I think every single character was done well. I'll save it for the best girl talk. But there was one character I think they handled a lot better than I expected them to. I came into that movie the first time I saw that character, I thought they were going to be garbage. Handled incredibly well. But I'll leave that for later, so for now, I also love the main character and the two mechanics. All of that was just... everything about the characters, I loved them all. You knew who they were without having to go into who they were, and I thought that was incredible. So 9 out of 10.
I gave characters an 8 out of 10, like I said, but, I mean, initially I gave it a 7, but I think I definitely need to put it up to an 8. So the big thing about the characters, like, you get your 3 core characters, and then I guess Crab Sonoshi is another person, but JP and his mechanic and the Junker. And the great thing about this movie is that it takes place like after another story ended, pretty much. Like it's like no, you come in like halfway through the story, and so JP's like 35 at this point, right? It never says that, but like you can kind of tell he's been through this for a long time, and so like he's been racing for his entire life, and so the core 3 characters, they don't like they know what each person's going to say, and like before they even say it, and so they kind of just pretty much use the words as like a formality, and it's awesome because they just know each other all so well that they don't even need to do anything. Like they know what's going down between each person, so like and they all talk about the glory days and how amazing they were. And yet you only see one person has profited off of it, the mechanic. And JP the racer, he's barely scraping by. I mean, he's making a good amount of money, but I mean, he's not barely scraping by. He's making a good amount of money, but I mean, the mechanic, you can obviously tell he's like sold out, but he's doing well. However, you see the chains, but they never talk about it. They never say, this is my issue. This is why I want to race. This is that. In anime, that is like strewn everywhere of people showing and or telling you, not showing you. This is finally a movie where people don't tell you and just show you, and you're just a part of it, and they don't try to give you anything. It's there for you, and they want you to figure it out, and that's what I love about it. So 8 out of 10, maybe a 9, but it's an 8 for now.
I didn't think so deeply about it. Now that you guys say this, I see a lot of your points, and I kind of regret making my score, but I'm just going to keep it the same for simplicity. I gave characters a 3 as well, and my reasoning for that is I guess it was more of a personal bias. I didn't really like the characters. I didn't even like JP. They just, to me, they felt very not, I don't want to say generic, but they just felt not written so well. Like, I remember Sonachi and JP's first meeting. I was just like, what? Like, this isn't how people act? Like, that sort of thing. So, I don't know. But listening to your points, I think you both have very good points, and I would agree with a lot of those things. And had that conversation taken place before, I probably would have bumped up my score.
What would you have bumped it up to?
Probably like 6.
Alright, fair.
Maybe a 6.
If you don't like the characters, you don't like the characters, and that's understandable. That's fair.
Yeah, and I say again, like, I was very jet-lagged while watching this, so my brain power was very low. I wasn't thinking about this so deeply, so...
10 out of 10 reviewer.
Hey.
I tried.
I tried to make a fucking segue, but you guys cut me off. Speaking of 6s, I gave it a 6.
Brought it back.
Completely flawless.
I honestly would bump it up to a 7. However, I do understand people not liking the characters, which is why I'm a little cautious to bump it up. I think they were handled very well. I do think that they're very, and I'm going to say this a lot during this podcast, very action movie-esque, which is why I'd say if you don't like that thing, you're probably not going to like the characters at all. So I do think they were handled very well, though. I think their interactions were basically what Thomas explained, because I don't want to go through that entire spiel again.
Sorry.
I figured out how I want to describe this. This was a Bond movie, and not like a modern Bond movie, like a Sean Connery Bond movie, but like the later ones.
The one where he actively just tells women to go do things.
For that.
Just blatantly, like, sexes them.
Except for that bit. That's not the bit I meant. What I meant was, like, everything's short, simple, and sweet. You see the characters, but, like, it's an action movie. But it's that kind of action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand what you meant. I just wanted to throw something under or get something in your spokes.
It felt very Blade Runner to me. Though, of course, the whole environment was pretty similar in a lot of ways, so maybe it's just that.
Maybe
I love me some Blade Runner.
Moving on.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I was gonna say, I guess, going on to art, I think.
Animation is the sound
Yeah.
of this. Now, I said this before, and I will say it again. This was Madhouse the movie. But this was the best of Madhouse the movie. This was incredible looking. I'm not going to go too much into detail because I think some of you have more things to say than I. But I'm just going to say that animation gorgeous, incredible art style, out of this world, actually, literally. Setting design, character design, I loved every single bit of it. That said, I don't think animation was absolutely perfect, just due to the fact that it was Madhouse. Madhouse's animation is weird. Alright, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I love it, I think it's incredible. For me, it's great, but it's weird, man. It's real weird, and if you are not ready for that, if you don't go in with like an open mind of like what animation can be, if you go in thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna watch this movie, and then like this is your first Madhouse experience, you are in for quite a thing. And I think just that alone, just the fact that it's the best Madhouse, it's the most Madhouse movie, but it is a Madhouse movie. And therefore I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for reviewer score, but personal enjoyment, 11 out of 10.
I can't...
10 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
Oh, no, I wasn't speaking yet, sorry. But it was a 10 out of 10. Like, without a doubt. To start off, it was all hand-drawn in an action movie where now you see a lot of CGI, especially for like the cars and stuff. Even you see CGI for cars in like normal things, and like a slice of life thing. All hand-drawn. The whole movie is hand-drawn. And the cell shading, there's no different colors. It's either red or it's black, or it's blue and it's black, or it's gray and it's black. There are no two black is everywhere and it's beautiful, and they somehow pull it off. All the background characters, every single one of them has a distinctive face. Everyone's different. The animation's so fluid, like there have to be at least like 20, like they have to be over 30 frames per second in this. Like it's they put so much work into it. They the only time where I noticed the background not looking like fantastic is when they had an entire coliseum of people and you can only like spend so much time on that, so you have to do the dots of color. But any other time,
money, they wanted to do each one of those individually and just
I'm sure.
time.
I'm sure the very opening scene, the people in the top bleachers, like way in the back, like way up there, they have faces, they have shirts, you can see it all, and it's amazing. And they even take like this one moment out, like randomly in between. It's a little odd, a little jarring up, but it's great for comedic effect, where they just change the entire style and it looks like it's from Caillou or something.
Yeah. Oh, Caillou, man, that brings back memories.
But it's 10 out of 10. It's gorgeous. It's fluid. Everything has impact, bright colors, very bold color palette. Another thing, like bright colors, like it's there, and they're colors that aren't very common in anime, to be totally honest. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. Well, I kind of struggled with scoring this one, but I gave it an 8. I think the art was the weaker point, whereas the animation was absolutely amazing. Like if I had the art and animation separate, I'd probably say art 8 out of 10, animation 10 out of 10. Just like, yeah, the animation was so smooth, especially in the like really high intensity racing scenes, and the art to me just looked a little weird at times. Like Javon said, it is Madhouse, and so the art and animation gets a little funky at times, and that's pretty much why I gave it an 8 out of 10. So I really think it was beautiful. I think it was really well done, very fluid, but it's just strange.
I thought the weirdness added to the charm, to be totally honest. I think
Yeah, I agree. I think it adds to the charm, but being more objective about it, it's a little weird.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I gave it a 9 out of 10. And I'm just gonna say one thing. The 1 point off is probably because it's so bright and colorful, and things are moving so fast that sometimes I couldn't actually tell what was happening. But yeah, I actually don't have too much to say about it. It looks amazing. It was done in 7 years, and you can tell that it was done in 7 years. Animation is fluid. Art is almost comic book-esque, like more Western comic book-esque, rather than manga-esque, or at least today's manga. Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words as far as describing it.
That sounds about right. Though, if I can segue off of your Western theme there, we're gonna move into sound. Because, man, oh man, was sound. That's, oh, Thomas is dead.
Oh,
Alright, well, while he tries to reconnect, we're just gonna keep going. Our faces might not be in the right spots, and that's okay.
No, you guys are still fine. You just moved slightly to the left. It's okay, though.
Alright. Well, rest in peace, Thomas, for now. Sound quality, though. Sound quality was
Oh, no, now you're
amazing. This is my... Oh no. This is my 10 out of 10. This is the greatest thing. This is... Everything they put into this was perfect. Japanese voice acting, great. Did not watch the English dub this time. I got too sucked into the movie, so forgive me, fans. But the Japanese voice acting was incredible. Sound quality, great. Cars, people, movements, wind, I don't know, everything knocked it out of the park. And then there was the actual, like, production values of the actual production of the Redline race. Because holy moly gamole. That sound quality is what drags you in. That sound quality is what makes you, like, you forget you're watching a movie, and suddenly you're just another person in the stands watching the Redline. Even though you keep switching perspectives to, like, the actual characters, and, you know, you're still watching it from the movie perspective. At some of those points, during the, every time you get a character on screen, they get their own little theme song, and then, like, a little backstory bit in the beginning, and then just, oh, man. And it was Western. It felt very Western. It felt very old style, like 90s, 80s Western, where they just kind of like, if a guy named Sugar Boy shows up, he shows up on screen, you hear, Sugar Boy! And it's just, oh my god, that just draws you in, it brings you in, it hypes you. Every single character's voice acting knocks it out of the park. You know who they are just by how they talk. You know how they're feeling, you know what they're into. Oh god, just so perfect. And the music was solid all the way through. Even the end credits. I watched the entirety of the end credits of this movie, which by the way are like 6 minutes long, because I loved the song and a half that we're playing. Just, my god. Man, that was sound quality. 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10. That was perfection. This is when we would go to Thomas, but Thomas is still kill. So while we try to do that, Steven, you're on.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10 as well. I think there wasn't much variation in the music. I definitely heard a really good song, but the same song several times. And it worked, of course, but I don't know. I noticed it, and I feel like they could have had some more variation in the music. But overall, I did really think it was top quality. The music, the voice acting, everything was really well done. The music always fit the mood really, really well. It was pretty amazing. Got me hype, just like an action movie should. So yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Solid.
Okay. Is it
Allan?
my turn? Yeah. I'm gonna be excited every time it's my turn. I also gave it an 8 out of 10. There was one line that I really wanted to say, and it is that the voice acting is incredibly Japanese. If everything about the voice acting is very distinct in the way that Japanese people dub their stuff, to the point where it was incredibly noticeable to me. If you don't like it, if you don't like listening to subs, for one thing, that definitely listen to the dub, because everything that you possibly hate about subs is there.
I feel like if you really hate Japanese, then anime is probably not your best medium.
That's also probably true.
Yeah.
Um. Song quality was superb. But like Steven said, there were variations on like one song or two, but there could have been more, but ultimately it didn't matter too much. I don't think it definitely didn't detract from the movie, I'd say.
All right.
Do you want me to just say Thomas's? Well, I guess we all know Thomas's score.
Yeah, just say Thomas gave sound a 9.5 out of 10. He had to force to reboot his computer. He'll be back eventually, but until then, we're just gonna go into spoiler section. So, fun disclaimer: if you, after what we've said right now, want to watch the movie, go do that. Leave us alone. This will be on the VOD. Just you can come back after you've watched this incredible movie. If you don't want to watch it or you've already watched it, then just stick around with us, because in 5 seconds we'll be heading into spoilers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the spoiler section, where we can now talk about everything, which is going to be incredible. But however, I always start off spoiler section with one important question, and one that I'm super excited to answer. Who was best girl? Friendly reminder, the best girl can be male, female, robot, dog, car, I don't care.
Speaking of dogs,
Am I going first?
Just say it. If you have one on the top of your head, just go.
Oh, well, mine would, I guess, be Sonashi. Crab Sonashi. Why? Well, she's cute. That's about all I've got.
Well, she's
She's
cute.
pretty badass, too, but she's cute. Yeah.
well, Thomas is back. Yes.
Oh, Thomas is back?
Hey,
appears
don't
to be
worry. The new Skype update crashed my entire computer, but I still see their clickbait ads. Woo!
Woo! All right. Well, you missed just about nothing. We just asked who was best girl. So Steven answered Sonashi. I'm gonna agree with him and just jump into my I love Sonashi rant, because I've been getting ready for this. When she was introduced in the Yellow Line race, I thought she was gonna be nobody. I thought it was just like, it's just one chick. All right, we just needed interesting characters for this first race, I guess. Oh, she's gone now. But then she wins, and never does anybody be like, oh, she didn't deserve that win. No, she won it. She won it fair and square. She kicked ass. And then throughout the rest of the movie, I kept expecting her, the reason I brought up James Bond is because the first meeting was kind of Bond-esque. And that guy meets girl, both of them, fall for each other very quickly over, just a few lines of dialogue. I don't know, I thought it was charming. I liked it a lot, actually. But, because I figured it was, hardcore flirting, they're both racers, I don't know. But, after that, you get a lot of her that I thought was really cool, and there are some scenes in the races I want to talk about, because that was great. The first thing is that she's the one who inspired JP to race, way back when. Mm-hmm. And he never feels the need to tell her that, either. He's like, oh, I bet she forgot. And, I assume after the movie, off-screen, maybe sometime they talked about it? Dunno.
He does have one moment where she looks back at him, and it's hinted that she remembers him.
Oh, that's really exciting.
This is my 5th or 6th time rewatching it, and I only now just caught that.
Fair. I didn't see that. But that makes me even happier. But not just that. Not just the fact that she, inspired him in the past. During the Redline race, mind you, she is, the forerunner for quite a bit of that race in the first half before it gets nuked. After it gets nuked, her first reaction, I immediately thought her first reaction, because JP's car was, still obviously working, I thought, oh, it's generic movie female, she's just gonna, hop into JP's car. No, she went straight back into her own and, kept trying stuff. And it didn't work, because her car was wreck. Her car was kill. But, her first reaction was, no, this was my dream, I want to do this, right? It was only after abject failure that she even thought about the offer JP gave her to race with him. And then even then, she had to ensure that she trusted his character, otherwise she was like, nah, I guess I'll give up on that dream, because I'd rather do it my way. And then after that, never... Even though it's JP's car, right? And you're thinking, okay, I guess he's gonna fulfill her dream for her, a la every shonen character ever. No, that was a team effort every time. Oh, JP can't hit the throttle well enough. He can't control the speed of it. Nah, she just shoves her foot on the gas. No, we're going forward. Don't be a bitch. Oh man, JP can't steer the car well enough, man. He can't hold this. He's too weak. She grabs the other arm in my favorite shot in the entire movie, where JP's left arm and her right arm are the ones at the wheel, This is not an individual winning this race. This is them as a team winning this bloody race.
Disclaimer.
And I loved that.
Disclaimer, please don't mess with your driver when they're driving. It's a bad idea.
No, if you're the best racers in the world, then do whatever you want for love. It's great.
There are a
for
lot of
safety.
disclaimers with this.
No, screw it. No
Don't try
disclaimers.
this at home.
Disclaimer free. Try everything at home. Join the red line. Race against the army. I don't care. It's the best. No, but back to her. I expected nothing. I expected like another generic female character, especially action movies. And what I got was somebody who actually had their own dreams, goals, desires, and was willing to go through with them. And I loved her for that. So, like, that blew me out of the waters. I loved her so much. Best girl, for sure. I don't know if you guys had other best girls.
I
Actually,
was
no.
a fan of the mechanic guy. Oh,
Oh.
unless something
No, go ahead.
to say.
Go
Let's
ahead.
hear about the mechanic guy.
Alright, so there's not much to him, but you can tell a lot of things about him. He sold out to the big thing about him, but he and JP are the best friends, like the two, right? And then you get the Junker, who's in their friend group, but when the time comes where JP's like, oh, where so the Junker and the mechanic gets the awesome engine, and the Junker's just like, we can't use that will kill you. JP's just like, I trust him. I always have. And what's amazing is that like, despite all the crazy stupid things that JP and the mechanic have done, I'm so sorry for not remembering his name, but he even loses JP Yellow Line to save their necks. But in the end, he lets them go. He's like, JP, like JP put his faith in the right person, because like he doesn't do it, and he puts his life on the line in order to let JP go.
Yeah.
But what's also great is the Junker knew that he would do that, because he had the shotgun ready, and he bursts down the doors, kills all the mafia people, and then when the time comes, they finally blow up the engine only when it's right. And I don't know, I thought,
Oh, that was great.
he was
Especially,
awesome. Even like seeing just him sitting with JP, and they say like 4 things to each other, but you can tell that they know each other, and they've been together for so long, and it's amazing. And I just think he brings out JP's best qualities. That's why I love him.
it should be noted, his name is Frisbee, by the way.
Frisbee, I should have known that.
Yeah. Also, yeah, no, that really brings out what you said earlier when we were doing characters. Like, you know these characters know each other and like, how they're going to react. I knew you were thinking of that shotgun scene, which was, like, the epitome of all 3 of these people know each other implicitly
Oh, yeah.
and know what they're going to do. And that was just fantastic. Alan, you said you had a different best girl?
Oh, I was gonna say the Junker for similar reasons, but not quite. I think that, well, for one thing, I thought that was really charming and funny. Just putting that out there. But like, I thought
I
that
agree.
his trust in JP was amazing, even if he didn't trust Frisbee for probably good reasons.
Very good reasons, yeah, no.
I don't know. He just sort of resonated with me. Out of the 3, I'm pretty sure I identified the most with him. I was gonna say as a joke that the dog was my best girl, but I mean,
He showed up for like half the line and then was not there.
but man, that half was amazing. I did actually really like it. I did actually
That's
really
fair.
like the dog. Not because he was a really good character, but just because he was really funny.
No, that's I loved a lot of the characters for that reason. Can we talk about the fact that like they put details into characters that barely mattered? Crying army dude, who just cries and punches people.
That was
Man, he got way
That's
more
awesome.
screen time than I expected.
like, what? Like, where did they come up with that power that he cried? I'm super strong. And then, like,
Evangelion,
and then
man.
Motorhead walks in.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, Motorhead walks in and like the guy's just like crying there. And he's like, "Move out of the way," and the guy's like, "No!" And so he's like, "All right, I'll walk around," and like he just kicks him out of nowhere. Like, and I love like Motorhead's like obviously supposed to be like the big bad guy. He's like the face of Redline, but he doesn't even try to start anything. He's just like, I don't want to do this. But then once the time comes, he's like, all right, I guess we're fighting.
I guess I have to kill you. I don't know. But that's great. I'm gonna leave characters for a second. I'm gonna leave characters for a second actually, because there's a point I had completely forgotten about until somebody brought it back up. How is this movie like Evangelion? How?
Okay.
I need to know.
Mostly,
But Steven's best. Wait.
While I was
His best
watching
girl is also
it,
Sushini.
it was just like, I have no idea what's happening. There's some weird, deeper plot going on in this action movie, and I don't know what it is.
But that's the best part.
And then it involves some bioweapon waking up. That's so Evangelion. That's exactly what was going on in Evangelion.
I'll give you Akira. I won't give you Evangelion because, like, the whole point was the reason the army is interfering with this red line is because the red line was like, this is super hostile territory that would be super against the red line in their military grounds. Yeah, it seems like a pretty good place. Let's just hold the race here. It'll bring in more viewers, I guess.
Yeah,
and then
I mean, I can understand that.
But then, the military is going to be against that. They're like, we have hidden stuff here. This is all of our military secrets. We can't let that get broadcast to the world.
Also, Redline is paid and sponsored for by Supergrass, which is the enemy of Robo World.
Yeah. Also true.
Good naming scheme.
I don't know.
Just gonna point that out there.
To
me, there were a lot of confusing things going on.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think I liked it from the get-go, but I feel like every rewatch just helped me understand it more and more. Definitely worth rewatching.
I just took it like I took Gurren Lagann and didn't think about it too hard.
That's the thing.
The thing is, it doesn't matter if you think about it too hard because it still holds up. It
holds up when you think about it. I didn't like Gurren Lagann. Remember that. I actually did not enjoy Gurren Lagann. I really enjoyed this because, like, when I did think about things, I was like, no, that makes sense in the grand scheme of things. That makes sense in the world we've been presented. I get it. I really enjoyed because it was the Red Line's forces that were like, we need to beat Robo Worlds, so we need to, we'll release their secret weapon that we just found. That way we can use that to fight off against them. So that's why Robo World had to send in their own weird, like, Akira monster. That section was great and also, like, completely pointless, and I loved because in terms of the Red Line, in terms of the race to the Red Line, it didn't do anything. Everybody got back in their cars and stripped them into, like, big mode. It did get Sushini and JP together, which I enjoyed. But, like...
I thought one of the people died. The Earth people died.
Okay, well, whatever. But, like, for the most part, not much happened, right? What was really cool about it, because it showed up and resolved itself, but I actually enjoyed that because that's the greater world, right? We're watching the Red Line. We're there for the race. But there's more happening, and we saw glimpses of more happening, and unlike things like Gurren Lagann, I think they do hold up to thought. I think if you watch this movie again, like, is this how, like, governments would react? Maybe they're a little extremist, but they gave the impression of a very extremist country to begin with their mechanized army people. So, I mean...
Right.
I thought it holds up, and I think my favorite part of that whole, like, bioweapon scene is the fact that in the end of the day, it didn't matter. It didn't matter to the racers, it didn't matter to the audience, it mattered to the armies, but...
And also, I think an important part also is that we're coming in, and the story's already there. Like, the story's been going on since before the movie, and we're just coming in with this little window of the timeline, which is basically how a story should be presented. Like, everything's always happening, but we can only see a little bit of it.
We showed up for the climax.
We only have time for so much.
Yeah. There's like a 10-year movie there. We showed up for the climax. And I think that's incredible. This is...
7-year movie. It's a 7-year
7 year,
movie.
yeah, it was a 7 year plot. We just showed up for 2 hours of a climax there. But I thought, as this is an action movie. This is an action movie to the core. If you don't like action movies, don't watch this movie because this isn't gonna make you like them anymore. But as far as action movies go, this one puts a lot more thought into its plot and its details than I think any other one I've seen. So that's also why I want to argue against Evangelion, because Evangelion gave zero thought to its plot and details, flipped a coin on the ending, flipped another coin on the ending, remade the ending again, remade 4 movies. Evangelion.
Yeah,
we need to do
yeah,
one of those, but
I don't know. I feel as though this one didn't have that good of a plot and everything. I feel like this was kind of a once the bioweapon thing showed up and not like the second one showed up, I was like, what? Why? What?
they're
I don't know.
experimenting on one, they're experimenting on another.
They have
me-
3 giant weapons.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, it's so overkill, I love it.
I can
One of them pointed
understand-
at their own solar system.
I can understand where Steven's
Right?
coming from because, like, ultimately, it made, like, no difference. So, like, when you actually look at
Yeah.
it, it's like, this is happening, I guess. But, like,
yeah, and like
I mean,
you said yourself, it didn't affect the race at all. So like to
The
me,
whole
it
point.
was very extra and just like they were trying to add something that didn't need to be there to begin with. So that's where I'm at with it.
I think in terms of
I
the
mean,
movie,
it wants to be over the top.
I think in terms of the movie, it doesn't make, like, if you're just thinking about it like, oh, I'm making a movie about this race, then there's no point in putting this thing in there because it doesn't fit the race, you're right. But in terms of the world they've created, I think it does make sense given the circumstances that the movie presented us. And to me, I think that's more important than being like, oh, this is a movie all about a race. This is everything surrounding that race. This is the politics of that world. There's so much more if you care to look. And to me, that made all the difference. And we can agree to disagree, but to me, that made it better as a movie, the fact that it didn't just show up as a movie.
No, I agree with your points. Yeah.
I want to liken it to something else. It's kind of like Star Wars, how it's about the rebel cause, but then they have Jabba, you know, and then they go to Tatooine and they have all the thing there, and it's only because Han Solo has a thing out for him. That's the only reason they ever go to Jabba's palace.
That's true. That, in the grand scheme of things,
I
wasn't that important either.
Speaking of Star Wars, I would actually like an expanded universe for this. It just seems very interesting. Even if
I would love an extended
Yeah.
universe for this.
I
I'm
would
sure
be
they've written
super
one.
into that.
I'm sure they've written one. It's in the annals of Madhouse somewhere. If we find that one corner that they were working in for 7 years, I'm sure we can just steal some notes and like see this whole world, because I know for a fact there's too much detail there for them to have just made this movie on its own.
About the over-the-top
But,
thing, though, I think they already taught that when a guy and his car both went Super Saiyan.
Okay,
That's
to be fair, that guy
very
was his
accurate.
car. That guy was his car. In absolute fairness.
Yeah.
I loved him too, and I loved the like the moment you saw Sonashi bring out her when she's introducing herself to JP, and it's oh yeah, this is the necklace my dad gave me. It's actually a super powerful fuel source. I think we all knew exactly where that fuel source was going to go by the end of that movie. That
yeah.
said,
And then Machine Head pulls out his own. He's like, "Yeah, you got
Yeah.
one."
you ready to throw down? I love how he just
He's
like
like,
ate
"Did
his
you know
too.
I have 2?"
And then the explosion
Also,
in the back
I didn't-
was so good.
I didn't get to talk much about sound, so I want to take just like a minute to talk about this real quick. But like, the moment a character walks in, like Machine Head
I said the exact same thing.
is like, they've got this awesome theme, like the Boing Boings had like, it was perfect for them. That was probably like the best best character song. And then each Lynchman, like, they all have their own themes that go along with them, and everything builds even the environments, you hear the crickets in the desert, you hear just some like everything sounds like it ought to. The engines, the super powerful, like all the explosions, it's crazy. It looks awesome. It sounds great. I don't know if it's surround sound, but I'm sure it would be awesome if it is. And then the last song was fantastic. I have that on my iPod. Great Redline day. I love it. Yeah, I listen to it often. But that's what I wanted to say about my 9.5.
All right.
Okay.
Little late reaction.
Sorry.
Talking about Machine Head, though, how did we feel about the ending to that movie? I personally, I loved it. I loved the fact that the explosion, I knew exactly that was going to happen. That it was going to. That's the best thing about action movies. You know what's going to happen, but that doesn't mean when you're watching it, you're still like on the edge of your seat. Like, is it going to happen?
Yeah.
Is it going to? Yes, yes. Woo! You just get
I
so
liked
pumped.
it.
The end, what I liked. So you see JP when he first comes in, and like the very first thing you notice about him is a ridiculous pompadour. Like that's
love the ridiculous
but no one
pompadour.
talks about it. No one talks about the pompadour. And then you see another guy with a pompadour, and I think there's some like super powerful pompadour like cult or something. Anyway, the fact is, though, like they never mention it, but like weird things happen with his pompadour. Like it gets stretched out, or like at one point he's eating dinner with Sonoshi, he like looks down because he dropped something, and his pompadour goes straight into a cup, and it makes a sound as the cup moves and like some water spills out. Like they put that much detail into that, and no one talks about it until the end. It finally makes a difference, and he wins by
A pompadour
A hair.
stretch. A pompadour hair. He wins by a pompadour hair, and I was so happy for his pompadour. It should be noted that somebody does mention his pompadour in the movie. The announcers for the race, when he was in dead last at first, were like, "Do you think his pompadour is, or do you think his hair is ruining his brain?" Or something like that. They're making fun of it. So that actually made it even more satisfying for me that they made fun of his pompadour, they made fun of his hair, and then at the end of the day, they win by the hair on his pompadour. Also, I'm really glad that weird anti-grav thing was after the race. Like, I get it, that's just kind of an ex machina for they didn't splat against the wall and automatically die when the car exploded.
yeah.
But at the same time, I really appreciate the fact that they didn't just splat against the wall and die when they're, like, I thought that was going to be our ending, too. I thought, like, when they flew out of the car, like, they won the race, but they died doing it, and I was going to be like, oh
Yeah.
no. But I
Which
love
would have
happy
been
endings.
appropriate, but it's even more appropriate with the giant love screen as they like just
Yeah,
float around
they
and
just, like, float around
the
and, like,
giant-
kiss.
with balls of
it's
color
just-
around them.
It's James Bond as fuck. But
Yeah.
it's so.
I don't know if
man.
that's James Bond, but
No, that's pretty James Bond. If you've seen some of those movies, it's like cut straight out, man.
oh man, Daniel Craig, what have you done?
Not that.
I was gonna
Well,
say.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like what a departure. If Daniel Craig's not.
Hashtag not my Bond. Or is there
Yeah.
anything else anybody wants to bring up?
Dog is
I can't
best.
remember.
I
Dog
wanted
is
more
best.
dog.
We all want it. I wish Dog had been one of the people from the Yellow Line who kept going, instead of the weird siblings. I think they're siblings. All right, so we're coming up on time, so I think it's time to discuss final thoughts, ratings, and recommendations. Kicking us off, I will begin. I gave this movie a solid 9 out of 10. I kind of want to raise that to a 10 out of 10, but I won't. I think at the end of the day, it's an action movie. I think it's one of the best action movies. I think it's incredible. I don't even want to call this a movie. I want to call this a production. I want to call this, like, this is a masterpiece in my opinion. This is something special, I think, especially because I'm a shonen head and this is what I live for, this kind of hype, this kind of like adrenaline from watching a thing. This is, it's, the reason I'm not giving it a 10 is slightly because of the disconnect between the first and second half. Don't get me wrong, I loved how they wove those in. I loved the lead up to the red line. I loved the characters leading up. I loved like how they didn't just kind of jump from the yellow to the red. And they gave us a lot of time in between to just see things like what the planet's like, why things are happening as they're happening, characters meeting each other and then developing opinions of each other and then finding out other things. All of that I loved to death. I also loved the fact that for JP's first time using the unstable motor ended with an explosion to prove that like it is an unstable motor and it wasn't just a thing that kind of got brought up and ditched. But I remember while I was watching the first half, there were points, not many, but a few points where I thought to myself, man, this is good, but I wish we were at the race already. And I think the movie wanted you to think that to some extent. But if you're watching part of a movie just thinking, I wish we could skip to the next part, I think it still deserves a little bit of criticism there. However, this 9 out of 10 should not be sneezed at. I kind of want to switch it to a 9.5 at this point, but I won't. I recommend this movie strongly. Anyone at all who watches action or shonen or like kung fu movies, race movies, anything like that, if any of what I just said is even remotely down your alley, go and watch Redline. Right now. Do it. Just, if you like Madhouse, do that too. Just go. This is the culmination of everything they've done. I don't think they'll pass it. One Punch Man might have. But differently. Completely different thing. Either way, I think this is like one of the best action movies I've ever seen. By far the best race movie I've ever seen. And just all around incredible, and I strongly recommend it to anyone who's in for a good time. So, voila.
Okay. 8 out of 10 would speed racer again. That's all I got.
That's all you got. I give you like an essay, and you're like, mean.
I gave this a 9. And I understand I'm volatile when it comes to scores. Sorry, Allan. But I would give it a 9.5, not a 10. I find it very difficult to give anything a 10 anymore. I used to flaunt 10s. Now like, I understand what a 10 is. For me, a 10 would have been Ghost in the Shell. But
on you as a fan.
This is a 9.5 out of 10. And like, it deserves a watch. It deserves a rewatch. It deserves 5 rewatches. It's fantastic. It's like, tell your friends about it. Tell people who don't like anime about it. If they like action movies, watch it. It doesn't even look like an anime. It's just in Japanese. People read subtitles. They can stand it. It's fantastic. And there's no barrier for entry. You can watch if you can read. You can watch this. If you like movies, you can watch this. Like, it's fantastic. Anyone needs to watch this. 9.5 out of 10.
Am I next? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get confused on the last screen because the order changes. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I regret my score again. I gave it a 5 out of 10. I thought it was pretty average at first, but again, this has been productive conversation, and my opinions have somewhat changed. I think I'm gonna go rewatch it pretty soon with a more, with a more focused mind, and just being more receptive of the movie for what it is.
That's exactly how I felt with Catcher in the Rye. At first I hated it, and then we talked about it and I was like, oh, damn, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after talking about it, I think it definitely deserves more than a 5 out of 10. Maybe 8 out of 10. 7, 8 out of 10. This is where I would put it, maybe.
Talking to people who are passionate about something always raises interest in the thing, because if somebody else can find something so much to love about that thing, you automatically want to be like, I want to find that thing that they found in it. And you don't always, for the record. Sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you didn't like it, you still won't like it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I love the mindset of, if other people really found something valuable in here, I'm going to give it one more shot.
Yeah, and I mean, this is supposed to be objective, so I'm like, I gave it a 5 out of 10 originally, but you guys brought up such good points about it that, like, I guess we just looked at it differently, you know? But
yeah.
Objectively, you brought up really good points, and I think it definitely deserves more than what I gave it. But, yeah, so I'm gonna give it another shot. I'll
right.
get back to you guys.
All right. Because of your open heart and open mind, you get to finish off our movie month. Because next week is the final week of Summer Movie Marathon Month. Man, I will never say that right. So, Steven, tell our lovely viewers what movies they'll be voting from.
Wait, we're voting?
Oh yeah, no, there's been Twitter votes that determine it every time.
Oh,
Just give us.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Not
nobody
sure
told
if
me
you-
this.
Oh,
Nobody told
sorry.
me this.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
Twitter's been choosing
That's
them.
why you have to choose 2 movies.
Okay, well, our 2 movies are going to be Wolf Children and Boy and the Beast.
If for any of you who watched our Summer Wars review, you'll remember us mentioning those as things done by the same exact director as Summer Wars.
God, everything
Steven might be a
about-
fan.
Me talking
Yeah,
about Ghost in the Shell must have been confusing, huh?
I wasn't here for the Summer Wars review, but I'll say it's my favorite movie of all time. I haven't seen his other movies, but I'm pretty sure they're worth giving a shot. So that's why I
don't
picked
honestly buy
those.
it. I've seen everything but Boy and the Beast by him, as far as I can tell.
I've seen Digimon the movie and Summer Wars, which are arguably the same movie. So
Same.
So, in case you guys can't tell, we are doing this live. And if you guys want to watch it live, I realize we haven't said this before. So, we talk at Twitch.com, WeTaku, and we do it every Monday at 6. Every
froze
other
out.
Monday.
You gave
You
a
froze
robot
out.
for that
I
line.
messed
Do you want me
They
to say it?
heard
Because
nothing of
I
that.
definitely won't freeze out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finish it up!
Alright, for those of you who watch this on YouTube, we do this thing live. Everything is in the channel description, but if you go to twitch.tv/WeTaku, you can watch our podcast usually on Mondays at 6 p.m. EST. This one obviously was not recorded at that time, judging by the darkness of Thomas's windows.
Follow our Twitters. Mine and Allan's at WeTaku Allan or at WeTaku Jovan. We'll always tell you guys when the time changes. It's really easy to remember. It's literally just WeTaku and our first name. So we will, if time changes, we'll tell you guys. But always assume Monday 6 p.m. Eastern time, which is 9 p.m. Pacific, and wherever else you are in the world, change it to that.
Right.
7 Central.
If you
Mountain.
if you don't know how to spell my name or his name, which I mean
They're on the
they're right
videos.
there. But
We have an overlay. Our names have been beneath us for the last hour. They'll figure it out.
but if you're too lazy, all those links are also in the description. What I'm saying is read the description.
Read the description, everybody. He works really
Allan
hard and
forces
wants you
hard
to
out.
acknowledge him. He forces. There's probably essays on essays about Alan's true feelings in that description. We would never know.
You've never read them.
But you should. All right. A few more things before we wrap up. I would like to remind everybody. We talked about this last week. It's still coming up. Real Taku Shonen Talk is going to be happening soon. Just the first episode of our Real Taku podcast series, in which we're just going to try to discuss the state of, in this case, shonen, because, man, I have a lot of feelings. Just so many. Especially if you're a fan of something like the Big Three, I think this is going to apply a lot more to you. That being Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, something similar to Fairy Tail. I know, Tom, you're not into it at all. But I want to talk about those in particular and their relation to the rest of the anime and shonen world, especially in the upcoming years. The end of an era is upon us, folks, so I want to talk about that a lot. So
Steven
keep
is
an eye
out
out
of the
for
loop.
Real Talk.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this as well.
Steven got back like very recently from Asia. We haven't told him much. It's fine. So yeah, keep up with
First time
our
I've seen them.
yeah, for real. Keep up with our Twitter feeds. We'll be giving you more detail on that when we set down a date and our list of guests and whatnot. Blah 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 blah. But until then, I think that's all we can promise in the future. We'll be back here next Monday on twitch.tv/WeTaku for our incredible finale to the summer movie month. I'd like to thank all of you fans who've made this month happen. I know we've been slow with the VODs. It's because internet problems have been happening. We're not at our current... we're not where we usually live, I'll just say. So just bear with us, please, and thank you so much for making this a success and for voting on our podcasts. We could not have done it without you. So with all that in mind, bye-bye.
Goodbye. Oh, I have one more thing.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a big difference between my Twitter and Jovan's Twitter. You'll probably tell after looking at us. So
I
just
also want-
pick one.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
he was gonna say
Okay.
pick mine.
No, I was going to say, despite all my like gay about choosing Redline, I do appreciate the voting. Like that's so much. It's so much more on probably both ends. I don't know. It
Yeah.
adds to it. It never
It-
detracts from it.
The connection,
So thank
the
you.
connection is great, so thank you guys so much. And now, with that in mind, twitch.tv/WeTaku Jovan, by the way. Jovan is the one you want to follow. Bye-bye.
Allan, if Love Live shit, bye!